All right, we're doing section 10.8 now. This is the last. Did you realize this is the last section in this chapter? Isn't that exciting? Well, for some of you, that's good, but some of you, that means a test coming up, right? All right, so we'll have to talk about a test. It'll probably be next week, maybe towards the end of next week. Okay, just depends on how much review we need to do. All right, so just keep that in the back of your mind. I will try to throw another quiz in there before we take the test, give you another grade. Okay. No, I don't hate you at all. All right. All right, so here we go. Let's do this. What I'm going to try to do you remember back in Algebra 1 and you learned like an equation of a line? Do you remember, like, what's off the top of your head, what's the equation of a line?
Y equals mx plus b.
That's right. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals mx plus b. That's the equation of a line, okay? There's all kinds of different equations of different things. If I asked you the equation of a parabola, I don't know, we probably haven't done that, but that would be something like this. Y equals x squared. Whoops, x squared. Do you remember that, doing that kind of stuff? Well, anyway, what we're going to do, what's this whole chapter been about? Circles, right. Now, if you didn't realize this chapter's been about circles, then you've never been 20 feet from this room, okay? So, anyway, but it's about circles, and so, of course, we're going to do, what do you think? The equation.
Of a circle.
Very good. Equation of a circle. And just like this, right? I mean, you'll always remember that, won't you? Y equals mx plus b. Same. Maybe you don't use equation of a circle quite as much, but it should be something that you have memorized. But it's kind of the same deal. What we're going to do is we're going to take just a generic, as you kids say, random circle. Okay, we're going to take a random circle with a radius or at the center anywhere. It doesn't have to be right in the origin. It could be anywhere, and I just stuck it up in the first quadrant just to make it kind of easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a radius, and you could draw it anywhere. I'm just going to draw it right there, just to make it easy. Alright, so there's a radius, and I also want to draw, oh, you know what I should have drawn? I'm sorry. Let's forget that radius. Let's do the radius from here to there. Now, where does it touch the circle? Right at that point. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that point, it's just any random point on the circle. Okay, I could have drawn the radius to any of these points on this circle, couldn't I? I just chose that particular one. Okay, has nothing to do with being the 30 degree or 45 degree. We don't know anything about it. It's just any general point on that circle. All right, so that's xy. Now, this center of the circle, they give that an ordered paired name, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure where they came up with these letters, but they use the letters HK to represent the center of the circle. Okay. This is just any point on the circle. HK is a specific point of the circle, isn't it? It's the center of the circle. XY could be over here, it could be here, 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 anywhere. All right, I just chose it to be right there. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a little triangle out of this. You've seen this before, haven't you? So I'm going to actually take this all the way over, and then I'm going to take this and drop this straight down like that. And we'll make it a little right angle. All right. So I've got a little right triangle out of here. This is the radius, so I'm going to call that r. Now what we're going to do is we're going to basically just write an equation of a circle from this triangle. I'm going to do Pythagorean Theorem. I'm going to find this length, and I'm going to find this length right here. Well, let's figure out what those lengths are. You could actually use the distance formula. Just plug this point, and the radius in for the distance formula. Because the r would be the distance, correct? And then there's the 2 points. You could do that. That would be fine. There's two different ways to look at it. I'm going to look at it a little bit differently. So watch this. That point right there is HK. So what's that point right there on the x-axis? How far over did I go in order to come up to this point? I went over H. Very good. Because if that point is HK, I went over H and I went up what? K. Do you see that? So that point right there is H. And this point over here on the y-axis would be K. Very good. Let's come to this point over here. I guess I should have made my graph a little bit bigger, but that's okay. You get the idea. To get to this point right here, how far over did you go? You went over X, didn't you? You started here and you went all the way over here. That's at X. So we'll call that X. And then you went up. That means how far is that line right there? That's Y. Very good. Now the reasons I put that in there, because I want to find the length of this little segment of that triangle right there. From here to here. Or this is X, right? And this is H. So how do I find the distance between those 2 points right there? Let's say this was 10 and this was 3. What would the distance between them be? Give me the numbers I gave. Give me the numbers I gave. If this was 10 and this was 3, what's the distance between them? Yeah, give me the number. It'd be 7, right? And now, how did you get 7, Vaughn? 10 minus 3. All right, but this is not 10 and 3. We don't know. We don't know what those numbers are. What do we know, though? We know this is x and this is h. So what's the distance from here to here? Good. X minus h. Very good. All right, let's do the same thing here. Again, what if that was 7 and this was 2? All right, then that would be 5, wouldn't it? But we don't know it's 7 and 2. We know it's y and k. So what's the length from here to here? Y minus k. Very good. I'm doing this for a reason. What I can do, I can write an equation with r, the radius, with that distance, and with that distance. It's a right triangle, isn't it? Okay, so what am I going to write? What do you think? Let's do it right here. This is the hypotenuse. Let's do that first. So it's going to be r squared equals, what am I looking at? I'm looking at what theorem? Pythagorean theorem. Good. Okay, so this is r squared. What's this one? X minus h squared. And what's this one up here? Y minus k squared. That's how you got, and that's right there. That's the equation of a circle. That's all it is. Basically, you never would think that the equation of a circle has anything to do with Pythagorean theorem. I mean, where does that come in, right? On a circle? I mean, what triangles, what straight lines do you have on a circle? Well, you do have some straight lines, actually, right? If you think about the radius of the circle, that's a straight line. You drop this down, you drop this across, you make a right triangle out of it. So yeah, we've seen this before, haven't we? Remember doing the sine, cosine, tangent? We've done that stuff before, all right? So that shouldn't be unusual for us to have a triangle inside of a circle like this, all right? And that's the equation of a circle. It's as easy as that. Now, it looks maybe a little complicated. I don't know if it does or not. But these represent things. What does the r represent on this circle? Is the radius. And what does the h and k represent on that circle? This is the hk. Say it, Wendell. It's the center of the circle. Good. That's the center of the circle. Those are the two important things when you talk about a circle. Think about it. If you think about a circle, I mean, what is there on a circle? Well, there's the center of the circle and there's the radius of the circle. You could also talk about the diameter and things like that, but the diameter has to do with the radius. Talk about circumference, but the circumference has to do with the radius, right? So everything boils down to where the center is and what the radius is. And that's what this equation has to deal with. It's got to deal with the radius and it has to deal with the center. Make sense? Here's the kind of question that they would give you. I'm just making this up off the top of my head. Let's say the radius was 3 and the center was, let's say, we'll make it easy. We'll make it 1, 4. All right? So this is what they're going to give you. They're going to give you the radius, they're going to give you the center, and they're going to ask you to write, what do you think?
Equation of a circle.
Very good. They're going to ask you to find the equation of a circle. So if they said find the equation of a circle, you go back to this and you plug stuff in. So what are we plugging in for that r? 3. And you can just do that in your head. What's that going to be? 9 equals, and then you just put a parentheses. Now, what is this? This is the center of the circle. The center is the h and the k. So the 1 is the what? H, and the 4 is the k. So you just plug everything in here just like this. So it's going to be x minus what? 1 squared, right? Because the h is the 1, plus y minus 4. Good. That's not too hard, is it? Follows pretty directly from this thing. All right? And there it is. That's all you got to do. That's the equation of a circle. Now, when we get in Algebra 2, we're going to do some more stuff with this, and we're going to write a different form of it and all that good stuff. But right now, we're just going to learn it like this. Now, they could also ask you to do it the other way. They could give you the equation of a circle, and what do you think they're going to ask for? The radius and the center. That's exactly right. Let's just start with this one. All right? So what would the radius of this circle be? Now, we already got to it. I understand that. But let's just think. Pretend we don't know any of this stuff up here. All we know is this thing right here. What would the radius of this circle be? It'd be 3, because this is r squared, right? So to find r, I take the square root of that. So the radius would be 3. And what is the center of the circle? It's going to be what? 1. Even though it's a minus, the center's still 1, isn't it? Because minus is in the equation. Very good. And then this is going to be a 4. So that's how you would do it. Let me make one up. I got less than a minute, I know. Let's do this. What if we did 17 equals x plus 3 squared plus y minus 5 squared? And I asked you to find the radius and the center. What would the radius be?
17.
Square root of 17. Very good. And the center? Good. It's negative 3, 5. That's what a lot of people forget. Okay, because it's x minus a negative 3, isn't it? So that's going to be negative 3. Understood? That's it. All right, there you go. So it's page 747. 11 to 18, 21 to 28. That's it. It's a weekend. Beautiful weekend. Enjoy it.
Weekend.